All right. Welcome, welcome, friends. So great to be with you all this morning for our practitioner support call. And I have a very special guest with me here today, Dr. Mike. And last week I explained the bands. And so I'm just going to, Dr. Mike, this is my community of regenerative health practitioners. And so we all are working to better our health and to help clients. And so I thought this was a perfect venue to share something that has transformed my life in such a short time. I can't even believe how toned my shoulders are in like 6 weeks. So, yeah, without any further ado, please get started. I'm going to share my screen with you. Let's see, I think, yeah. And then you can just get started. Wonderful.
Okay, great. And Jessica, what's our time? How much time do we have?
We are usually on this call until 11, 10:30 or
Okay.
11. It just depends hour to an hour and a half.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got some time.
Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for attending today. And I'm always excited to talk to fellow health pros. I was a sports chiropractor for 18 years, retired in 2004, which was a while ago. And I've been in the health and fitness industry ever since. In 2013, our science advisor found BFR in the Japanese athletes in the World Games, World Championships, and come to find out in the sports they were doing it, you pretty much couldn't compete with them. Studied it, realized that this was a staple in Japan. This was a staple for rehab, exercise, performance, and health changes, as well as weight loss. We got it over here to the United States around 2014, 15. I started using it. Um, we started on Olympic athletes, then transitioned into recreational athletes, people with challenges, and then everything from, young kids who play soccer to 85-year-olds who have extremely poor circulation in their legs. And the results, interestingly, matched what all the science said coming out of Japan. In 2019, we launched B3 Sciences. I did. We're now at over 60,000 people. Let me give you a couple statistics. 60% of all orthopedic surgeons are now recommending that their post-surgical people do BFR. Of the physical therapists using it, which is growing fast, 98% reported this is better than traditional rehab, and they've switched over to doing BFR. Um, where we really stand out is in the design of the bands, which I'll talk about, but who we market to. Rehab's a no-brainer, but we are at the forefront of being out in traditional exercise, kind of like Jessica told you how fast her body's changed. We're going to talk about that. We are out at the forefront of performance. I have 6-year-olds using it. I have teenagers, Olympic athletes, seniors, people compete in senior games at all levels, recreation all the way up to Olympic athletes. LeBron James is doing this, Patrick Mahomes, Dr. Oz, Mark Wahlberg. They're all doing it. So this is quickly in the last 5 or 6 years gone from kind of like a fad to a scientific breakthrough. Everything I'm going to share with you today is backed by science. And I always start out with this. This isn't Dancing to the Oldies with Richard Simmons. This isn't P90X. This isn't Billy Blanks and Tybo. Billy's awesome. Billy uses the bands. I love Billy, but this isn't a fad. Okay. This is a scientific breakthrough that's going to apply to every area that we do rehab and exercise and performance, and we're only going to get better at doing it. So today's presentation, I'm going to gear towards all of the health professionals on the call. And I'm always excited to talk to fellow health professionals because you really get it quick. And we just talked about it. It is here. Okay. 60% of all physicians are now recommending it. 98% of physical therapists found it to be beneficial or very beneficial. Um, there's definitely a rehab lane, but the lanes I'm going to talk to you today are exercise. Everybody needs to do it. Performance. And then the health benefits are really interesting. Here's what's so exciting about it. We always hear more is better, no pain, no gain. Well, those principles don't apply anymore. From what we've seen, more is not better in exercise. It's actually a producer of cortisol. And pain is absolutely not the goal, right? We are no longer chasing pain and soreness. We are chasing blood lactate, the byproduct of anaerobic metabolism. And certainly we'll talk about aerobic, but we're chasing lactate, which turns into the anabolic signal. BFR is amazing in that it's really quick. Of our thousands and thousands of people, the majority exercise 5 to 10 minutes. And it is the equivalent of an hour workout, and it's easy. It's portable, no equipment needed. There should never be any pain, recover faster. The most important thing is we turn on the anabolic signals. Imagine having a 5 minute arms workout with light weights or exercise tubing that anybody can do, or 5 minute legs with no body weight. I'm 61. I haven't lifted more than 10 pounds in, what is it now, 9 years of doing BFR. And it is just absolutely amazing. My longest workout's 12 minutes, never sore, barely break a sweat, although sweat's good. I get that in my sauna. And typically I work out 6 to 8 minutes, and I've never, in my opinion, looked better and felt better. I mean, I feel like I'm in my 30s. Why? Because I'm able to access the anabolic signal. And here's where it comes from. We have this mentality that no pain, no gain, micro tear, need to be sore. Well, that's not actually true. What we need to do is produce lactate. Your body doesn't change because you micro tear muscles. That's a byproduct of heavy weights. It doesn't change because of time, load, or volume. And there's this talk out there about zone 2 training, which we'll talk a little bit about that. But the change happens when you create fatigue. Everybody knows that, right? You walk around the track versus running the stadium stairs. You know what the stadium stairs are going to feel like. You're going to feel the burn, and you know you're going to change, right? You know, if you do yoga, you're going to get some flexibility. It's a great workout, right? Or water aerobics, but it's not going to be like lifting weights at putting on muscle. What's the difference? The difference is when you produce lactic acid faster than it can be broken down in the muscle, spills over into the blood, acting as a triggering marker for the anabolic signal. And I actually travel around and I measure it, this circulating lactate. Here's an example. Most resting lactates are 0.8 to 1.2. And this is a fun thing you can do. You may want to do this with your clients. It's really simple. It's like pricking the finger and doing blood sugar. You're just pricking the ear and doing lactate. But if you can raise lactate 100% in the blood, you turn on the anabolic signal. You turn on growth hormone, thyroid, IGF-1, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, vascular endothelial growth factor, circulation improves, immune system, T killer cells goes through the roof, bone density goes up, the anabolic signal. Well, these are all 5 minute workouts from people of all walks of life, and we are way beyond producing 100% increase. Tammy, 340%, Sarah, 630, Chris, 1,000%, Ashley, 800%, Carol, 440%, Dr. Adams, 1,000%, Colin, 1,000%, Dr. Otto, 500%. These are lactate levels that are typically seen in elite athletes or Olympic athletes that the average American could not achieve. It's not possible. Why? Because they can't go do a 45-minute CrossFit class with a 25-year-old fitness models, right? I can't do that anymore. It's too much pain and too much soreness. But now everyday people can produce the same fatigue and turn on the anabolic signals. And the studies in response to this are rock solid. If you go to Google Scholar and type in BFR, I think we're over 100,000 results now. It's heavily backed in science. Here's one of the studies done on men in their 50s. At that top line there, they're doing exercise without BFR. This is the standard 3 sets of 8. Okay. The people that did BFR, the same guys came back approximately a week later, put the BFR bands on, cut the weight. Interesting, cut the weight by 60% and did higher reps, but immediately felt the burn. And we'll talk about why. 25 times increase in growth hormone. If you can get a 20% increase in growth hormone, that's medically relevant. You're going to be published. This is off the chart, 25x. So the average person that we've seen is in the 3 to 5x up to 25x times increase in growth hormone, which is a massive change. It's almost like doping and cheating. Imagine taking all the most powerful natural hormones in your body, growth hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, thyroid hormone, IGF-1, testosterone, estrogen, brain-derived nootropic factor, bone-specific alkaline phosphatase. Imagine getting that in a natural form and just doping and injecting yourself. That's the only way I could even possibly explain what we're doing. We've never seen anything in any type of therapy or exercise that does this, especially in people who are in their 30s to 70s. Why? Because if you're able to get this fatigue, the problem is you're producing cortisol when you do it. That was my problem at 52 years old. I could do the workout and I'd already replaced 3 joints doing it, lifting the heavy weights, but I was producing so much cortisol that I was getting negative results. I could get the fatigue. Oh, I got the burn, which a lot of people don't want to get, but the price was too high. I was actually going backwards. And that's the problem we have in most of the people you see. They can't tolerate high intensity, and most don't want to do it. And if they do, the negative effect of stress counteracts it. So exercise, this is Dr. Ken Otto, one of our instructors, completely transformed his body. Looks like he did back when he was playing in his 20s, playing football, and he works out with light weights for 10 minutes. Performance, we have pro golfers, collegiate athletes, probably the most famous pickleball player out there, USA bobsled, world champions in martial arts. Anytime you add this to performance, imagine increasing the effectiveness of the fatigue. Imagine taking a high school athlete and training them like they're an Olympic athlete. Imagine taking a kid 6 years old and being able to get the fatigue like they're an elite high school athlete without any pain or soreness. You're going to move the anabolic signal and you're going to get results. This used to be controversial. Now we have so many thousands of results that it's now known. If you are doing sports performance, BFR is going to make it better and easier and more efficient. We have protocols for things like speed, endurance, run, bike, swim, vertical jump, agility, power, explosion, golf, tennis, pickleball, baseball, football, basketball, soccer, gymnastics, volleyball, bowling, martial arts. I can tell you nobody in the BFR space is anywhere near us in sports performance. Over on the right, that's Sandra. Sandra competes in the senior games. Very, very competitive. It's like elite middle-age or senior training. The average person competes in 2 or 3 events. She competes in 8. Three of her days that she competes, she has 2 events going on. Imagine that. Grueling events. And all she does is win gold. Nobody can even compete with her. And she trains, her longest training, endurance training is 20 minutes. Think about that for a second. Her competitors are training 2 to 3 hours a day, and she trains 20 minutes and she's never sore. Same thing over there on the right for Dr. Dennis Brickner. He competes in the Senior Olympic Games, competes in 6 events, brings home gold. Nobody can compete with him. This is a national competition. Why? Because he's the only one training with BFR. These 2 athletes have higher anabolic signals, more growth hormone, more IGF-1, and more development of the slow and fast twitch muscle fibers because they're doing BFR. Baseball players, golfers, volleyball, strength. This is Chris Duffin. He's the only man to ever squat and deadlift 1,000 pounds. And if you watch his podcast with me, he'll tell you his secret to strength was light weights and BFR. I used to get in arguments with people about strength because I saw what it did, when we started with the USA Olympic weightlifting team. That over there on the right is Mitchell Hooper, world's strongest man. Reigning 2-time, nobody's stronger in the world, and he does BFR every session. Why? Because light weights with BFR increases strength equal to or better than heavy weights. And we all know that our clientele, they need 2 things. They need strength and they need muscle. because we know the majority of health markers are going to be improved when we have strength and muscle. And this doesn't just apply, right, to these world's strongest men. It applies to everybody that you see that walks in your practice. That's Jameis Winston, NFL quarterback. That's a Atlanta United soccer player. That's LeBron James over on the right. Interestingly, LeBron is 40 and he has the health of a 20-year-old. This is his secret. He doesn't lift heavy weights. He doesn't do long training. He's able to elevate his growth hormone with short workouts, and his body functions like it's 15 years younger. Here's some of our teams that are using it. USA Weightlifting. We're approved by the Board of Certification for All Athletic Trainers, NASM, all personal trainers, many of the state's physical therapy associations, the American Naturopath Association, the ANMA. We're certified with them, and we teach courses. You can see some of our teams there. This is an athletic team of high school athletes. They did 12 workouts, 3 per week, and it took them 10 minutes. Imagine that, 30 minutes a week for 4 weeks. They all put on 2 to 4 inches on their vertical and all showed dramatic improvements in speed and agility. And these are kids that have been playing their whole life. Okay. Let's talk about weight loss. We get so caught up on counting calories and calorie restriction that I believe we've missed the mark. The mark is very simple. We have a daily metabolic output, or what is daily metabolic rate or metabolism, right? The problem that I've seen in the course of my career in BFR is calorie restriction temporarily works, but then your metabolism slows down to match your caloric intake. It always does that. And if you exercise, it goes the other direction. Your caloric output matches your exercise level. But we seem to be caught up in calorie restriction and starvation diets, which temporarily work, but the majority of times they leave us with reduced muscle and low metabolism. And then returning to normal eating tends to cause the yo-yo effect and putting more back on. And that's a dangerous path because that leads us to a lot of the heart, cardiovascular, blood sugar dysfunctions because we're losing muscle and we're losing strength. It's interesting. Harvard's already researched this heavily. Weight loss is about afterburn. It's about moving your daily metabolic caloric output by 600 to 800 calories with exercise. Imagine that if every client you worked with had 600 to 1,000, if they're a male, more caloric output a day, and they could get it from 5 to 10 minutes of exercise. Every diet would work. I mean, you could pretty much not eat everything, but I went from eating 2,300 calories a day to 3,200. I eat 5 to 6 times a day, 600 calories. I mean, I eat everything in sight, and I was able to get my six pack back. What was the difference? What's right here? A sedentary lady in her middle ages averages about 1,700 calories output. So to lose weight, you got to be around 15, 1,700, right? What happens when that same lady does high intensity exercise or BFR? She's got 750 more calories to work with. That is the way we are designed to function. Number 2, when you turn on the anabolic signal, instead of your body being in fat maintenance mode, it goes into fat release or fat burn by way of the thyroid. And we could spend a lot of time talking about hypothyroidism, but practitioners, you are going to increase and balance out thyroid activity. Because when you get the anabolic signal, growth hormone out of the pituitary, you get a matching thyroid releasing and stimulating hormone, which turns on the thyroid. And that's where all the improvements in thyroid function comes, and especially weight loss and fat burn. Imagine your clients for a second. I have not yet seen a program for people who have weight problems where we can increase muscle and lose fat at the same time. I've never seen it. And I've been in the health industry now for coming on 40 years. This reduces fat and builds muscle. So we get the fat reducing solution we need, but we get the muscle building benefit we also cherish, right? Here's an example. This is Holly. Holly's about 250 pounds overweight. She has lymphedema and she's in a wheelchair. Holly's not signing up for any 45-minute CrossFit classes anytime soon. And she's certainly not able to maintain any exercise. But we put BFR bands on her arms and we started with 1 minute, and I can share with you all the protocols. And she was able to feel the burn in her arms, the little pump in the burn with super light exercise. And here comes the anabolic signal. Here comes the metabolism. And there you can see on her right, she went from wheelchair to probably, stuck that way for the rest of her life, back to a normal life. Still got a little lymphedema. You can see the wraps on her right, the right picture, but completely changed her life. This is Anthony. Anthony's been in multiple car accidents, has lost about 70% function of his legs, and he can go to the gym and lift heavy weights, but he can't get any results. Why? He's he's too much in cortisol. Not only has he got post-trauma stress, but he's got life stress, and then he's got exercise stress. And that's one of the biggest things I see, especially with women. They get caught up in this long endurance and overtraining or no training. And then they get stuck in cortisol and the exercise doesn't work. Well, look what happened to Anthony when he switched to 10 minutes. So he's all fatigue. He's getting the pump and the burn, but it's not painful. He's not sore, but he's not elevating cortisol. So his anabolic stress teeter-totter, I call it, right? Because we do things that cause stress to be the dominant signal, and we can do things that allow us to have anabolic, the dominant signal, right? This guy flipped his teeter-totter. He's all anabolic. Let's talk about health. The studies on what occurs when you create fatigue in both the aerobic and anaerobic pathways are just fascinating. Aerobic, nitric oxide, cardiovascular, VO2 max. Studies show that this is tremendous for the heart. Immediately starts reducing atherosclerosis, and I can share with you all the studies. Improves ischemic heart disease, improves circulation, improves vein compliance, venous compliance, which we have a big part of the population now who's having vein problems in their legs. Okay. The healing and anti-aging systems that are in the body are out of reach for the majority of people we treat. And I saw this when I was in practice. The people that I was treating in practice, they can't get 3 minutes of lactic acid. It's not possible, right? So they're not accessing their nitric oxide, their anabolic hormones, their natural opioids and cannabinoids, and their anti-inflammatory macrophages. They're not able to access these. Hence, they are not able to access these natural systems. IGF-1, which is one of the downstream byproducts of growth hormone, is an amazing, amazing hormone, insulin-like growth factor, regulates blood sugar and metabolism, increases lean body mass, decreases fat, regenerates nerves, upregulates testosterone, antioxidant benefit, and ligament strength. The average person cannot access IGF-1 because the only way you can access it other than a small natural release is by getting vigorous exercise that stimulates lactic acid. And we know that most people can't do that. So here at 52 years old, I was getting very little IGF-1, and I was always in pain. I was doing the no pain, no gain, and all I was all pain. Blood sugar. Many of you are probably treating people with insulin resistance. We could spend an hour talking about that, how this could have a dramatic impact, but here's a study. When you access the anaerobic pathway, your fast twitch muscles, which the majority of people can't access, you are converting the fuel glycogen, not oxygen. Oxygen's aerobic slow twitch. Fast twitch muscles that are typically only accessible by heavy weights and now by BFR utilize glycogen. Well, here's what I didn't know, and I studied pretty hard. I graduated with honors from chiropractic school. I paid attention. Nobody told me that approximately 20 to 25% of your dietary intake of sugar is meant to be converted to muscle storing glycogen. So as we age, this extra 20 to 25% that's not being used to replenish glycogen, where does it go? Yeah, it runs around and causes problems. And what I learned and studied about is insulin resistance is a problem in the fast twitch muscles. The cells are resistant to insulin. Here's basically how it works. If I don't do vigorous exercise and tap into my glycogen reservoir, is another name for it, my muscle cells, when insulin runs around and says, hey, who needs sugar? We got some sugar. My muscle cells are going to say, not us. We're full. We got all the glycogen we need. And it basically just says no, which is a form of blocking. That's insulin resistance. Your muscle cells are not accepting the insulin and sugar. As soon, I've done this when I travel around, and I've measured blood sugar. I've seen diabetics drop their blood sugar in 5 minutes by 100 points. Shocking, but it makes complete sense. We put the BFR on, we get a fatigue in their fast twitch muscles. They metabolize glycogen. The muscle cells say, hey, I need some glycogen. And immediately the insulin and the blood sugar is pulled off, and it's regulated in the liver, and then it's put into the muscles. So the glucose monitoring and balancing effects on this are fascinating, and I've seen it firsthand. We need more research, but that will be a very fun area for you. And I can tell you, there's no downside to your clients getting good exercise. It's all upside. Pain and inflammation. I can't tell you the thousands of stories about pain, but we all know we have chronic pain, and I had it in my practice, and you probably have it in yours. And what most people are dealing with is two problems. One, as we age and there's trauma in a joint, let's talk about the knee, we lose circulation. We don't have the same blood flow. How do I know this? Because I used to heat and bake and cook and adjust and manipulate and massage and Graston and dry needle. Everything we do from a therapeutic standpoint, we're trying to improve circulation into things like fibromyalgia or rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis. And also, we're dealing with inflammation. BFR has a significant impact on circulation and oxygen delivery, and then it also has a dramatic impact on inflammation. So imagine being able to reduce inflammation and increase circulation to every tissue in the body. I might have pain in my shoulder, but all I've got to do is work my legs, and I can stimulate this process. And I can't even begin to tell you the thousands of pain stories that we have, and it started with mine and the documentation that's out there on it. Neuropathy pain, if any of you are seeing anybody with neuropathy, you've got to read the neuropathy studies. I've seen just miraculous changes in neuropathy with increasing blood flow. Tendon, many of you are seeing tendinitis, right? Inflammation of the tendons. And this has been shown, and we've got Shannon there. If you could turn off the animate, disable annotation, I'll do that right there. There we go. Shannon was having fun with her marker.
Sorry, I pushed the wrong button. I was trying
That's
to,
okay. I've had presentations with hackers draw some pretty unimpressive stuff. So I'm quick to the disable annotation button. But moving on, we know that if we can mechanically fatigue a tendon and increase blood flow, we can improve tendinitis. The problem is it typically requires load that the person cannot tolerate. Now we can affect tendinitis with light loads, stimulate blood flow into the area, and get the mechanical tension. And we've seen this in the NFL as well as everyday people. Neuropathy. This is one of the biggest areas that I think we can have improvements, right? You got carpal tunnel, you got cold hands and feet, you got Raynaud's, you got regional pain complex problems, you got diabetic compressive neuropathies, post-traumatic, all affecting the nerve. Well, I didn't know this either, or I probably wasn't paying attention in neurology class, right? That I thought it was all about the flow of nerve transmissions through the nerve. Well, it's also about the nerve has a blood supply around it. And if we lose that blood flow, the nerve starts to shrivel up and deteriorate. We're able to improve that circulation. And based on studies, the current literature says that blood flow restriction is beneficial in neurological disorders without adverse effects. Now, there's a protocol. This is one of the things that I think our company leads BFR in, is I'll help you with protocols, and we actually onboard all of the people that get bands. We don't want to put the bands on long for a neuropathy. I teach a 1, 5, 10 principle that all of you will learn. 1 minute, 5 minute, or 10 minutes in the bands based on where you're at. So neuropathies are a 1 minute. Get them on, get the burn, get them off. This is Dr. Tom. He's a chiropractor in his 80s over there on the right side. When he came to one of our events, that leg was the entire color of the lower leg. Both legs were like that, but this one over here on this side was the worst one. Horrible neuropathy, probably heading towards an amputation. Over on the left, and Dr. Tom's in a walker, so he can barely move. And we've done this on hundreds of physically challenged people, stroke, cerebral palsy. We just have them sit, stand. We help them. We pull them up, they fire their quads, they sit down. Takes about 2 minutes, and they get a little burn, and then they get a rush of energy like the gym buzz. And then they just start building on that. Well, this is Dr. Tom in 8 weeks, restoring his leg. The vascular doctor says never seen it, didn't even know it was possible. Well, sure, it's possible, because we have a thing in our endothelial cells called nitric oxide. And there's a lot of great ways to get nitric oxide, but the number one way, the most powerful way to get nitric oxide, is to create hypoxia. Hypoxia in the muscle, drop in oxygen. We're using more oxygen than is flowing because of BFR. And then we get this big nitric oxide dump out of the endothelial lining of the blood vessels. Blood thins and blood vessels vasodilate. That lasts about 4 to 6 hours. So they get an immediate circulation improvement. And then it starts to have a lasting effect. And you can see that lasting effect here. So the circulation things that you're going to see, I think, are going to be really impressive and going to give you a lot of confidence. Here's Dr. Tom. You can see what he's doing here. Look at him shaking. But this is Dr. Adams having him stand up. And he did that 2 sets of about 5. And he said, I haven't felt that in 40 years. He felt the pump and the burn in his muscles that he hasn't been able to get. Now, I'm going to go live here and kind of show you a visual, because I like a visual of BFR. But what I am so proud of the most is I was a chiropractor. I think like health professionals, right? I understand there's challenges to implementation of BFR. Number one, the most important is BFR is not a jump rope. You're not going to give it to your clients and they're not going to go, oh, yeah, I know how to jump rope. They're not. BFR is technology, right? So there is typically a 30-minute education process like this one that people have to go through. And I know this because I've got over 1,000 doctors and health pros. And I know this, you don't have a half hour to give a BFR class to somebody so they can understand it. Here's what you do have. You have 1 to 2 minutes to address a topic and discuss BFR. And the conversation might go like this. Hey, Bobby, now that we've got you in your treatment plan, let's talk about exercise. What do you do for exercise? And then they typically respond with, well, but, when, if, right? 90% of people have a challenge. And the conversation is something like, well, hey, Bobby, if I could show you a way to add some meaningful light exercise that could significantly help your weight loss, your pain, your heart, your performance, and you could do it easily at home, would you be interested? Everybody says yes. And then you simply share a page on your website. I've done all of these pages: blood clots, sugar, bone, brain, immune, heart, thyroid, multiple sclerosis, neuropathy, pain, vein, weight loss, basketball, golf, gymnastics, kettlebell, perform, pickleball, run, bike, swim, seniors, lose weight, kids, walking. I've done all of these pages, and everyone has a short 8 to 10 minute video. Some are shorter, where I explain why BFR is going to help with their targeted condition. And I can tell you, when they go there, they're going to understand it. There's also science on every one of these pages. I put all the studies and I give a short 2 to 3 sentence test summaries because I know they can't read a 5-page study, but I give them the results and why it works. So this allows you as the health pro to target the area you're wanting to improve, introduce a technology that's going to work in conjunction with the awesome therapies and treatments that you already provide, and you're going to turn on their anabolic signal. And I can't think of one thing, cancer, pregnancy, and obviously we're not going to do a robust workout program with pregnancy, but I can't think of one thing in the 10 years I've been doing this where increasing the anabolic signal will not benefit them. Not one. I've never once in 60,000 people said, nope, we can't do you. Now, I have people who have circulation problems in their legs. We got to put them on their arms. I have women who have had mastectomies or men who have had lymphomas removed. We got to stay away from the arms. We put them on the legs. But we're always able to find a upper or low extremity where we can put the bands on and put them in a safe movement that's going to turn on this anabolic signal. And this is all right at your fingertips on our mobile app, and it's free. I've built this specially for doctors. You just go into it, you pick the topic like science or weight loss or pickleball or jump higher or thyroid or heart health, and you send them a link to your affiliate site, and it's a professional based site, right to the page where they can learn about their topic. So this makes it easy for you to educate them. So imagine 1 to 2 minutes, you educate with them, and then you follow up. Now, we have recently released a new significant improvement because here's the next challenge that you're going to face, right? People don't understand it. So a lot of them, I'd say 80%, they're going to want to know, is BFR for me? And that's the exact system I've created for health pros. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a education process that I do for you that's going to help your clients understand how BFR could impact them. So let's back up. In this, what I call 3-step systems for health pros, yours is one simple step one. And you can certainly do more steps. Introduce, recommend, and then refer them to your website. When they get to your website, they're going to see this blue button that says, is BFR for me? And you simply tell them, hey, now when you go to my website, if you really want to see how this can improve your health, or you can just tell them because you're their health pro, click on the is BFR for me button. They will fill out a brief 10-question survey that I will then review. And then they are invited to what we call the BFR discovery or roadmap call. What is that? I bring them to a call like this one. I welcome them. I review their answers. Just say, hey, Mary, I see you're trying to lose some weight. You got a knee problem and you're taking some thyroid medication. Anything else? And I review that with each one of them for you. And then I give them a 30-minute education on what BFR is. And then I give them a roadmap. I give them the personalized plan they need that's going to apply to their situation. So this is me working in unison with you on every one of your clients. And trust me, I'm going to support and acknowledge that they need to continue with their health pro. And a lot of them will mention their treatments, and we'll talk a little bit, about how this is going to help accelerate results with those treatments that they're getting. And this has bridged the gap where most health professionals have seen the challenge. I would love to spend 20 or 30 minutes talking BFR. I don't have 20 to 30 minutes. I'm the person that's going to do that for you now. Next, when they start their BFR program, okay, and on board, okay, and they get their roadmap, we have a mobile app called B3U with 10 live instructors and over 100 on-demand workouts. So we literally have like a Peloton online for all of you and your clients to work out with us live. It's free for 30 days. It gives them instructions and tips. This gets them onboarded. Hey, how do I get my bands on? Here's what I don't want for a health pro. I don't want them coming in your office or calling you and say, hey, Teresa, hey, Sammy, hey, Jennifer, I don't feel the burn. I don't know how to get my bands on. What should I do? We handle all of that for you. So this is you're going to do a simple education and prescribe it. And then we handle all of the education and onboarding. Okay. In addition to having this, we have brochures and booklets that you simply put your QR code on, and we'll show you how to do that. It's easy. And you use these in your clinical practice or however you practice, and you simply hand it to your patients. So you can send them a link on the mobile app, or if you like handouts, the little booklet tells a great story and the brochure highlights it. You simply give them one of those. You can get them from us, and it'll have your QR code right to your website. We even have a looping video you can play in your clinic if you'd like. It plays a 2-minute video explaining BFR, and it loops for an hour. So this allows you to educate people in your waiting room if you'd like to do some in-office marketing. And then we talked about the personalized BFR roadmap. The B3U has a community where they can ask questions. I hope all of you join us in the community, because there's going to be hundreds of people just like you who are working out to get in great shape. You can work out on demand whenever you want. You can gravitate to one of the instructors. We have instructors that do functional senior workouts and, high intensity kettlebell workouts for 10 minutes. And we have rehab and performance workouts in there also. Some of the other things I do is staff training. If you decide your clinic, you'd like to train your staff, kind of like I'm doing now, I can do a staff training with you and your team and discuss with them, because if your staff understands it and can support and answer questions, this is going to be much easier to implement in your office. I also do patient education classes. If several of you would like to get together and maybe once a month or once every month, you'd like to have a patient education night, we can do this one of two ways. You can host that in your clinic, and then you can Zoom me in and I can talk for a few minutes. I will give you a PowerPoint that you can use, or the easiest way is to just do an online one, where all of you or a few of you invite patients to an online BFR, and then each one of you would speak for a few minutes and talk. We'd review, some of the issues that the patients are dealing with, and we would do an online presentation. Both of those are tremendously beneficial. Just always remember this. You're going to have a lot of fun with this. You are going to see amazing results. Your clients are going to love this, and you're going to love what it's going to do for you. But just remember, there is an education process. We have to make sure we understand how to do that. So I've put all of these systems and tools in place. And I can tell you, if you plug your people into this, they're going to be thankful. They're going to love their results, and they're going to probably send more people to you, especially for BFR. We also have an HSA, FSA eligible program. So we tell them on the shopping carts, right on your shopping cart, you can see that arrow, how they can get a letter of medical necessity from you. And I've got the template for it. I can send it to Jessica and all of you. You simply prescribe it for like fibromyalgia, tendinitis, pain, obesity, high blood pressure, and then they can use their HSA, FSA to reimburse themselves. So we've got that covered also. We also have a 6-hour certification course. I'd encourage you, if you really love BFR like I know you will, to take the BFR certification course. It'll teach you everything you need to know. Now, Here's what it's going to do and not going to do. It's not going to turn you into where you're going to do 30 to 45 minutes. Remember, I don't want you doing that. What it is going to do is give you all the confidence to have these short conversations about every topic. Neuropathy, you're going to know how to talk about it. Somebody's going through cancer treatments, you're going to know how to talk about how BFR is beneficial for that. Somebody's dealing with thyroid or Hashimoto's. You're always going to have the confidence to address the condition with what BFR can do. The education still will be on our side. Now, that doesn't mean if you love spending, a lot of time with your clients, you absolutely can do this education process yourself. But I'm trying to make it streamlined for you. Now, it is just like you would buy a cervical pillow and mark it up, or a nutrition supplement. There is a retail profit program here, but here's what I've also done to make it easy. I don't want you to get into the inventory business and the selling these and taking returns and warranties. So what we've done is we've made this a professional affiliate for Health Pros. You're going to have your specific link, and it'll be on your QR code or whatever, however you refer on your brochure or off of your mobile app. And your name will be up in the top right-hand corner. You can name it whatever you want. And your website address is your affiliate ID.prob3.com, but you could call it, like jessicahealth.prob3.com if you want to get your own specific URL. So this personalizes it for you. Okay. Next, they go right into your shopping cart. When they're at your site and they purchase, you get the credit. It's that simple. You refer. The process would go something like this. You educate a little bit, you refer, you point them to the website, set up a time to follow up. They schedule a discovery call. They come on my call. They see how it will fit. I send them back to your website. They purchase. You get the credit for that. You'll get a notice that they purchased out of your shopping cart, and you're going to make a great bonus on that. Here's an average of the bonuses. You sell a set, you make 80, 2 sets, 120. So you're going to average probably about $100 per purchase that comes through your shopping cart. Okay. And the bands also, we have an affiliate discount code. A lot of doctors want to offer this. So a set of bands, 2 arm bands and 2 leg bands and the pump, are $479. They get 30-day money back guarantee, 30 days free access to the app, 30 days coaching. We even give them exercise tubing and an instructions card and a duffel bag, everything they need. If you want to offer a discount code, it's very simple. We have what I call the 50/50. It gives them a $50 discount, and it reduces your commission only by about 30. So we split that. So if you do want to offer a discount code, you simply email us. You don't need to provide the code. You just email us and say, hey, turn on my 50/50 code. It's automatically programmed into your shopping cart. They don't need a code when they check out. So if this is something you'd like to do, you can turn that on and off anytime. Maybe you want to do it when you have an event or a patient education class, and you want to keep the normal price the other time. So you have the flexibility to do that. All your customers and clients can use credit card or PayPal. They can reimburse themselves HSA, FSA. We have a 0 down, 0 interest program, so they can make payments approximately $85 a month through PayPal. 30-day money back guarantee. We are the only BFR company that takes back used bands. They can be sweaty, dirty, doesn't matter. They get 30 days. So this is important to let them know. Hey, I want you to take a 30-day trial on these. I know you're going to love them, but if for any reason you don't, you can send them back. They get the free access, the equipment, the gear, and especially for your people with weight loss, everybody that comes on the discovery call where I give them the roadmap, I also give them my free BFR diet program. And it might be something you want to take, because I teach people when you're anabolic, when you're an elevated growth hormone, it's a completely different diet. You have to eat. If you want to build muscle and lose weight, you have to learn how to eat like an athlete. You can't starve. And I teach them this, and I teach them the myths and the things they've got to stay away from. And this is a free program. So now you can also offer all your clients, hey, I want you to also take this free BFR diet course that you're going to get with it. It's 3 30-minute videos, and there's even questions at the end that they take. So we are what I call a full service BFR exercise company. We provide everything. So with that said, I want to go live now and show you what the bands do. And then we will get to any questions that you have. Okay, hopefully everybody can see me. Now, you've kind of heard all of this science. Let's break this down to what is BFR and what's it really doing, because you'll want to show your patients this. We know that oxygen is the primary fuel for our muscles. Why do the altitude trainers put an oxygen mask on? Why do athletes train at altitude? Because reduced oxygen into a working muscle is a very good thing. That's how you adapt. You cannot create fatigue and change without using up the oxygen. Here's the problem. Oxygen is flowing in with the artery, okay? And the deoxygenated blood is going out, and this process is just going like a continuous supply of oxygen. Let's call oxygen flow at 10. Here's the problem. For you to change, you can't walk at a 6. Not a lot happens. You got to run the stadium stairs at an 11. Very few people want to hang out in 11. And if they do, right, they're only there for a second. Let's go back to lactate threshold, right? Here's me at 52 years old. 1, 2, I'm lifting heavy weights, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there's the burn. 7, 8, done. 5 seconds of burn. That doesn't get the job done. That doesn't exceed lactate threshold. All that lactic acid is cleared in the muscle. So the problem is, right, is people don't want to exercise up here, or they can't. You can't exercise at a 6 when oxygen's flowing at a 10. That's called movement, and that's not going to cause adaptation, right? You got to go up here. What if we just not interfere with arterial inflow, but this venous outflow? Look at my hand. Let's just slow it down. That's all we're doing. We're not cutting it off. Now, you got to use the right kind of bands. Narrow, flexible, multiple air chamber. This is our patent. This multiple air chamber here prevents it from acting like a blood pressure cuff. We do not want to put on some $39 cheap Amazon strap. Do not let your clients do that. I can tell you, no doctor, no pro team, no health pro is using those crazy things, right? There's a specific way we want to do it. In the arm, it's the cephalic vein, the big major highway exiting. In the leg, it's the saphenous. Again, we want to take this outflow and slow it down. We do not want to interfere with inflow, and we don't want to occlude. When we do that, the oxygen availability is reduced. It's like putting the altitude training mask right on the muscle. Now, if the oxygen's flowing at a 5, which is completely safe, 6 is now the new high intensity. That's blood flow restriction. Walking is walking or running uphill. 5-pound dumbbells feels like 30. 4 minutes on the elliptical feels like a 45-minute Peloton class. So in a fraction of the time, you are able to get here. Here's the difference. When oxygen's flowing at a 10, it's almost impossible to stay in the burn. It's too vigorous. When oxygen's flowing at a 5, you can get in the burn and stay there. Let me give you an example. 3 ways you do BFR, and I'll teach this. As soon as you feel the burn, 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, there's the burn. I feel the lactic acid. You just keep going for 20 seconds. This is a 20-second rule. But you're not curling 40 pounders. I'm curling 8. I can keep going. I mean, it's just 8 pounds. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my arms are pumped and on fire. 20 seconds. I've exceeded lactate threshold. Do that for 9 sets. Buys, tries, shoulders. Takes me about 8 minutes. I just got 3 minutes of burn. That's the magic formula. 3 minutes of total burn maximizes lactate and growth hormone. Number 2, Do a continuous movement like an elliptical or a rower. As soon as you feel the burn, go for a minute. Oh, there we go. I need 59 more seconds. You're not sprinting. It's easy. And then take a quick break and do it 2 more times. There's 3 minutes. Or do one of our circuits where you're doing movements and exercise and you just keep going, like 3-minute arms or Ocho Loco, 8-minute legs. Or when I go to the gym with my wife, I go 2 or 3 days a week. The other days I just work out here for 6 or 7 minutes. I get on the elliptical and never fails. 20 seconds, my legs are on fire. Like I'm at the end of a Peloton and I'm only 20 seconds in. And then I just go for 3 minutes. I'm only going at 60% pace. Yeah, there's some burn, but I mean, I'm done at 3.5 minutes. I'm over in the weight area, 5, 6 minutes on my arms. I drop and do a plank, and I'm walking out the door, and the same people are still on the treadmill and the elliptical, doing their 30 minutes to an hour. And no offense, they all look the same. They're all doing low intensity, no growth hormone being produced, no muscle building, no fat burn. So those are the protocols that will teach us. So always remember this. We allow arterial inflow. We simply slow down venous outflow. It's completely safe. We're the only company that has safety studies. You're welcome to review those. And we're going to lower the oxygen so that now 6 low intensity is the new high intensity exercise. And you only got to be in the burn for 3 minutes. So you're talking about workouts that take about 1% of your day or about 10 minutes. That is what we've discovered with BFR, and what I've seen is nothing short of fascinating. And again, super excited to share with all of the health pros here. So Jessica, we'll turn it back to you, and let's see what kind of questions we've got from your awesome group.
Thank you so much for explaining all of that. Does anyone have any questions? Bobby.
You have to hit the unmute button, I think, Jessica. There she goes.
Hey, sorry, I'm in my car, so I'm going to turn off my video. I would love to hear your, I don't want to call it elevator pitch, but for clients that have, which I am one of my own clients, for mold toxicity, recovery, having their neuropathy. As far as just what you would say to somebody that either coming out of mold or has chronic inflammatory response syndrome recovery going on and stuff like that. I would just love to hear just like what you would say to somebody like that.
I first identify the target. You've identified a target. Could be pain, could be mold, could be long haul, could be anything. I first identify the target and I say, what if? Hey, Bobby, what if you could do some light exercise for 5 to 10 minutes a day that would improve circulation, reduce inflammation in your body, and help you detoxify faster? They're not going to say no. That's what I say. And then I say, if I sent you a video or gave you a brochure, would you review it? And they always say, well, of course I would. Great, I want you to watch this. Now, I as the health pro can decide, I'm going to send you straight to his BFR. Hey, Bobby, when you get there, I want you to schedule a call with Dr. Mike. He'll tell you how this works. Or 2, hey, Bobby, when you come back to my office, we'll have a follow-up. Or 3, hey, Bobby, when you come back, we'll do a little demo. A lot of health pros like to do little 1 to 2 minute demos and put demands on. So the intro I always use is what if. Let me give you another example. Every time I'm on a plane, I'm sitting next to somebody. Hey, nice to meet you. Who are you? What do you do? Great. I would say, hey, what do you do for exercise? It's just a general question. And it never fails. Well, but if, when. It's always well, but if, when. Well, when, but when I could, when I have time, when it doesn't hurt, before I hurt my knee. And then I always follow, well, what if? Well, I used to run 5 miles a day, Mike, and now I can't because I got a bad knee. Well, what if you could do 5 to 6 minutes of light exercise and get the same workout as a 5-minute run, but do it at home and do it in something light? And they all go, come on, really, dude? What are you talking about? I said, yeah, that's called BFR, blood flow restriction. It's a new technology that blah, 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 blah. If I give you some information, would you review it? So I like the what if and then apply it to whatever they're dealing with.
Okay, great. I understand that. Certification wise, do you guys charge a fee for that? Or is that if you're an affiliate that it's part of the affiliate program?
The course is $289 for the course. If you choose the founder program, which is most popular with health pros, you get 3 sets of bands, all the sizes, you get all the tools, and you get the course for free. So it's about an $800 savings. So you could do it a la carte. What I would recommend all of you do is do the founder program, because you're going to need bands for yourself, and you need the sizes in your clinic for some demos. You don't have to, but you're probably going to want to show people the bands. And then you can add the certification course to that. Or you can buy the certification course separate and just buy a single set of bands. You can also plug in people in your clinic or staff that may want to take the course. They get $100 off if they take the course also. And then after anybody takes the course, especially if you're founders, then you've got access to me. So I want to let all the health pros on here know, if you decide to make this similar commitment that Jessica makes, she'll tell you you're going to have access to me, because you're going to have questions. You're going to say, hey, Dr. Mike, I've got somebody on blood thinners and they've had this and they got that. You're not going to be 100% confident with some of these challenges. So you're going to need to be able to reach out to me and talk those through. So just know I'm always available to assist you with that.
Okay, so what's the founder? I came in late. What's the founder program cost?
Well, if you just buy a set of bands, they're $480. Okay, if you do the founder program's $13.99. You get 3 sets. Okay, plus you get all the gear, all the training, the mobile app, and you get the certification course with it. So that program's $13.99.
Okay, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You bet. And you can buy a set. Some health pros are like, hey, I'm in, let's go. Other health pros are like, sounds great, let me try it. So if you're probably like half the health pros, here's what I'd recommend you do. Today, in that case, today's not the day you're going to go implement it with all of your clients, right? You're like, sounds good. I always encourage the health pros, try it. Jessica tried it, and now she understands and she's a believer. That's why she's, has the confidence to share with you today. So at the very least, I would get yourself and try it for 30 days and go through the system yourself. And then you're going to have a lot more confidence. Maybe you just want to be a simple affiliate, or maybe you want to jump in and be a founder, and you can actually upgrade to the founder level. You can just pay the additional price and upgrade to founder, or you can just stay at the base level of affiliate.
Okay, that was my next question. So I'm a test drive person. I don't recommend anything until I try it out myself. And I think most of the people here are that way. But it's nice to know that you can try it out yourself. And if it's working for you and you want to continue, you can just upgrade, which is nice.
Right. So you can pay $480, go through the whole system, and then just get a free and affiliate link and stay at that level. Or you can upgrade to founder. You get more bands, you get the course, you get access, 24/7 access to me as a founder. And there's some additional opportunities for income if that interests you on the founder side too. But that's a great place to start.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Shannon?
Yes, I was just wondering if there's a monthly fee involved in any of these things, like the app or any of that.
Yes, the app and all the coaching in there is $49 a month if they want to stay. About 70% of the people stay. About 30% after their 30 days, they cancel it. Now, we have a lot of people on the app. If you bring 5 friends, so imagine you tell a client or a patient and they're like, hey, I love the app, but I don't know, maybe I don't want to pay for it. If they bring 5 friends, and then theirs is always free. And that applies to you also. So we have a lot of people who bring their friends, and they have 5 that are also in the app, and then they don't pay anything for their app on a monthly basis. Plus, they're making additional commissions on the people they referred. Great question,
Okay,
Shannon.
so we don't, so for instance, okay, so if we can offer the app, I'm just asking for anybody that might have this question. You don't have to have the app, that our clients can have the app even if we don't.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, okay. Weird
And
question, but
why I give them 30 days is I say, look, I want you in here for 30 days. If you don't want to continue, great, but it's not a jump rope, right? If you just get in there and let us show you, Jessica will tell you it takes a few times, but then you'll get dialed in pretty quickly, and that's what I want. I want people dialed in. They know how to use them. They know how much time to wear them, and then they can go off, on their own, or they can stick around in the community depending on what they want to do. But that onboarding process is really important because, I want to make sure we get a high percentage of people getting results.
Have you ever contemplated a lifetime fee for just a lifetime app where you don't have to have the monthly, you just pay it outright?
Yeah, we've talked about that, and I'd love continuing ideas. So as you go through it, Bobby, if you've got some thoughts on what might work, please send that over. We're only a couple months into the app, but we've talked about that, either a pay per video, or a year plan, or a lifetime plan. We thought about that.
Okay.
Great idea.
Does anyone else have
Jess,
any questions?
I do, Jessica. What kind of results have you seen, and how? And tell us, how long do you wear your bands, and what do you do?
So I am almost at 2 months, and I don't really time it, but it's always less than 10 minutes. And I'm still kind of playing with getting workouts off the app. We also get like a schedule with some basic workouts. So I'll just, like, this morning, I just threw my bands on and just did 3 exercises for my upper body, because yesterday I did both upper and lower. Tomorrow I'll do lower body. I like the focus on the upper and the lower and then combining them. And I have noticed like my arms, I'm gonna be 55 this next month,
Hmm.
and I've been noticing some things that I,
Yeah.
wanted to address. And in such a short time, I see the tone in my shoulders,
Hmm.
especially when I lift things. I'm just like, whoa. I'm like, my shoulders are looking younger. Like,
Yeah.
it's really obvious that your body is changing faster. I mean, I've been working out my whole life, and I've never, um, as I'm aging, the tissues respond differently now all of a sudden, the past couple of years. And I wasn't getting the results anymore that I always was able to get. And so, yeah, it's just been very fast. And to have a short workout, I'm busy, and the busyness was one of the things that would get in the way of my workouts. Like, if I didn't do it at this certain time, it just wouldn't get done at all. And now it's like you can fit 10 minutes into any time of your day, but I
Hmm.
can even do that in the morning like I like to, without worrying about time. And so, yeah, it's just such a focused, easy, fast way to get that burn. Like,
Yeah.
you love the burn,
And you're
especially
never
if
and
you
you're never
understand
sore,
it.
are you? Yeah, and you're
Never.
never sore. Yeah, you don't have to wake up the next day and go, "Oh, geez, yeah, that was a good workout."
And I'm
No.
feeling stronger. Like, I'm
Hmm.
feeling stronger in my core. I'm
Hmm.
feeling stronger, like, really fast. Within probably like 2 weeks, I was able to not feel the weight as heavy. Like, I'm just
Hmm.
adapting much, much faster.
Yeah, it's shockingly fast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Congratulations.
Thank you. Bobby?
Anybody else? Questions?
Yes, I'm full of them today.
Okay.
Research wise, you mentioned research. Is this research that your company did, or is this research just on, the hypoxia with exercise, that you guys have pulled into, you know, your exercises regime and things like that?
Well, there's a massive amount of BFR science that we all use. We have two studies we've done on yoga and walking to prove that it was safe. It did not increase arterial pressure in the distal radial and distal tibial artery. That's important. Not only are we not cutting off, we're not increasing arterial pressure. We studied the heart. There was no increased oxygen demand on the heart. It's safe. And we measured circulating lactate. And in all of these peoples, we were able to significantly elevate lactate, the trigger for growth hormone. And then we lean on, everybody in BFR kind of leans on all the science. The majority of it was initially out of Japan with Dr. Sato, and we've got it all, on the website. So what's nice is that you just can't, there's just no argument about the science out there. It's not fad based. There's 7, 8 studies on heart. There's a study on long haul. There's studies on inflammation. I mean, and they're all posted on the website. So that's what I love is I'm seeing all these results. What I really enjoy is I don't have to come from a testimonial base only, right? We know testimonials are just that, testimonials. We've got all this science backing up and matching the testimonials.
What would you say when people try it? Is their biggest objection as far as sending it back or not continuing with it?
Not knowing how it's going to help,
Yeah.
right? Hey, I'm overweight. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'll just cut my calories. No. What if, if you said to somebody, you don't have to say calories. Everybody knows calories. If you said, hey, Mary, what if you could burn an extra 700 calories per day and it was easy and it took you a couple minutes? She got it. She already knows. Her brain goes, I got 700 more calories to work with. That makes my caloric deficit I'm looking for is easy. It's like pain. Hey, you've got an arthritic knee. Well, what if we could increase oxygen and blood flow to the knee like there was a heat pack on there all day? They go, oh, yeah, I know what that would do. Right. So when you use these simple terms, if they get it and they see it's how it's going to work, right, they're going to buy in. We all know that, probably 90% of the population isn't habitual exercisers, right? So we're dealing with that challenge. So if we leave it up to them, there's a good chance it's going to be a novel and wear off after a week or two. But what I'm big on is if we educate them and that's what I do in my discovery call. Look, you got a choice here. You can either live a life of being in build muscle, burn fat, and anti-age, or you can live a life of stress. It's real simple, right? Every day you're in build, burn, and anti-age, you're going to function 20, 30 years younger. So I kind of piggyback on that. So we're trying to get these people to envision a lifestyle that works around what you do for them. Good sleep, good diet, exercise has got to be in there.
When you do the discovery call, will you allow the practitioner to be on it if
Oh yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah. A lot of the docs come on with their client, right? They'll schedule 3 or 4 people on one of the calls and they'll come on with them.
Okay, great.
You bet. And I'd encourage you to take it yourself. First thing I want to see is all of you get results like Jessica, because I already know what's going to happen. I mean, I know when I get you results, and if you've got a specific condition, right, just make sure you fill out the questionnaire and we can even get on a private call and talk about yours. But once we get you results, the ball is going to start rolling easily down the hill.
Sounds good.
Great question.
So Teresa had a question. She wants to know for a person who had a stroke and is paralyzed on one side, wheelchair bound and needs help transferring. How would, the bands help with that
Oh, it's
situation?
going to have tremendous benefit. Let me see if I can get just did a video, kind of a montage of all of our people that have physical challenges. Let me see if I can share my screen and play this. It's kind of a cool video. You get to the share here, just 1 second. So I'll kind of share this with you. This is Jason. He's in a wheelchair. Okay. So he's T12 down, paralyzed. This is Marcus. He's got cerebral palsy. So obviously adding muscle and strength was a game changer for Marcus. He's over in Sweden. This is Jason. He's paralyzed. This is Homer. Homer's debilitated, couldn't stand up and walk. This is after 2 weeks standing up all by himself. Here's our one of our stroke patients, Dale. You can see we just do sit and stand. So these simple movements start, working their nerves, they get strength, and psychologically it has a tremendous benefit. So somebody like Dale, we're not going to put him on a treadmill for 20 minutes, right? But if Dale goes through the discovery call, I'm going to teach him or his caregiver, right? Hey, we're going to start with 1 minute. We're going to do sit to stand. And then the next day, we're going to do some arms for 1 minute. And then we're going to build on that just by starting the burn through any type of movement. And if they can't stand up, then I just have them get in a skier position, right, and balance themselves on the walker. But we just got to fire the quads. You can get a very robust lactate out of the quads. They're a big muscle. So we have protocols for just about everybody. So it's going to have tremendous benefits on people with stroke. Are we going to have 100% recovery? No, but we've seen some amazing improvements. Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, can't even begin to tell you how beneficial it's been for those people. Improved memory, better function, more stability, tremors reduced. And, they learned about that on the brain health page of our website.
Oh, that's such great news. Bobby, do you have another question?
No, sorry.
So you'll have access, everyone, to all these protocols, right? And you'll have access, to continue to learn about it. And you can be as hands-on as you want or as hands-off as you want with your clients. It's completely up to you.
I love it. This is such a powerful system.
Awesome. Excited to work with this group. Yeah, so I would just, get your link to them, Jessica. And by the way, when you order everyone from our website, instead of doing the is BFR for me at the beginning, when you purchase, you'll fill out a survey about who referred you. Then the very next page is the post-purchase questionnaire. That's called the roadmap. So just check out, fill out the roadmap. You basically answer some basic questions that I'll review. And then right on that next page, after the checkout, you can schedule the calls. We do them Wednesdays and Saturdays. Do them Wednesdays at 7 Central and Saturdays at 11 a.m. Central Time. So we have 2 different times during the week, and we take up to 10 people, on each one of those calls, and we'll be increasing those in the future. So that'll allow you to get your bands and then plug in, and then I'll send you a specific roadmap so you'll get to see kind of the roadmap that your clients get that shows them what to do.
Great. Becky?
Hi. Okay. Thank you so much. I do apologize if this question was asked. I did have to step away for 7 or 8 minutes a few minutes ago. How does this work potentially for someone that is a physical therapist? I have a sister who works with clients all day, every day. And is starting her own business and kind of shifting into that. I'm just curious if she would, essentially need to be like selling the bands to her clients, or if she would just need, some varying sizes, and then she travels around and works on these things with her clients, or maybe it's a combination of both.
Well, there's always personal, right? So we know that she can get the personal results. And then there's, people who do rehab. So she's going to have bands to implement in her rehab, and I'm going to share with her all the protocols. But protocols really don't change. Whatever the physical therapist is doing for this, that, or the other, you just add the bands, and it's quicker and more efficient and stronger anabolic signals. So it's not like you have to relearn how to treat a back pain or a neuropathy or an ACL or a hip replacement. You simply just add the bands, and we'll teach them how to do that. So that's a no-brainer. She's going to get better results with her clients. They're very easy to carry around. You can sanitize them when you're done. You just take an alcohol wipe and you just wipe down that neoprene on the inside there, and they'll last thousands of uses. And they're very portable. So you can just take them with you and do rehab. And then you can also prescribe them maybe for the post-rehab phase that the person can continue their home exercises. Or maybe you want them to have a set and you're 1 or 2 days with them. You're having them do this, and then maybe 2 or 3 days a week, you're having them do some other stuff with the bands. So there's all kinds of ways you can do that. And when she joins, she'll get access to all that stuff and can kind of pick and choose how it'll fit for her.
Amazing. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you so much.
And you'll make commissions on everything that gets purchased through her. So if ladies are not opposed to commissions, then you'll make some great commissions.
Of course. Thank you.
Great question. All right. Does anyone else have any questions? Any more questions?
Where's everybody located, Jessica? Or all of you kind of in the same area?
We are all over. Looks like Michelle might have a question.
I missed the bands. So are they like weighted?
Nope. No, they're called blood flow restriction bands. When I put this band on my arm, okay, this is how easy it is. Okay, on the arm, we slide it up. We're going to get it right above the bicep and snug it down, and I'll teach you how snug to get it. You hook up the little manual pump and pump it up. It's like 10 seconds. Boom, you disconnect it. What it does then is it simply takes this outflow and slows it down. It's like stepping on the garden hose a little bit, but we're only affecting the vein. That outflow slows down. Because of the way we've designed them, they're not uncomfortable, right? Doesn't feel like a blood pressure cuff. You don't feel the thump, 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 thump when the blood pressure cuff. I mean, it's kind of like having a neoprene brace on your arm.
Okay, thank you.
And they go on the upper thighs and the upper arms. So and there's sizes. There's 2 arm sizes, 2 leg sizes. So there's a size chart right on the shopping cart where they can, measure themselves and choose their sizes. Great question. Seattle. All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Mike.
You're welcome.
This has been wonderful, and I even learned more things. I love learning all of the health-related pieces that could be affected by just flooding the body with nitric oxide, which we know about.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it's just a beautiful way to take that up a notch.
Mm-hmm.
Have some control over that. I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate you. And I appreciate this system so much.
Okay, thank you. It's great to be here. Look forward to helping all of you. First of all, implement it in your lives so that you can, turn back the clock and function at your best. And then we can help a lot of people.
Perfect. All right, everyone. Unless anyone has another question, I'm going to sign off. All right. Blessings on your day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.